Welcome back, friends. Our final matchup of this 7th day of EU League Stage 2. 2 more days remain, and this last matchup is basically all that we still have left for today. Outsiders versus G2. Welcome back to the Analyst Desk. I'm Most Medic. With me are the wonderful Emmy and Fresh. What was that? Nice, beautiful curtsy.
Thank you.
G2 having defeated Pwns in our last Playday. Can they take down yet another Russian team today, Emmy?
They don't really have an option. They've got to. I think that's the thing. It's sure there's a question of will they be able to pull it together, but you have to look at this G2, where they've been, where they're going. Probably not Berlin, but it's not entirely out the question. And their last showdown against the Russian team was pretty handily. This second one should be a lot closer.
You would imagine so, but G2 should have enough. And I think that's the big thing about G2 is they should have enough to beat every single team in this league. It's as simple as that. You look at the player history, they call themselves the super team. You know, they've said about this team that they want it to be the next dynasty. You know, we can keep going back to all these big buzzwords that they talk about, but the fact of the matter is this team is still significantly underperforming in league position.
Well, one player that a lot of people keep talking about is Citizen. They have been for quite a while. So what's the deal with Citizen?
So Citizen, we've got a player highlight card just to bring up on Citizen. Now, the reason that I wanted to highlight Citizen actually isn't going to be anything to do with his statistics. It's going to be to do with the fact that he's actually taken a much more vocal leadership role within the team. I spent a lot of time watching G2 comm videos to try and figure out what's going on at G2, what's going wrong. In the most recent comm video, Citizen is the one that is basically coordinating the team around the map, calling what's going on, telling Doki, he was restraining Doki, Doki, come back. We've got the man advantage. You don't need to give your life. He was actually being the quote-unquote IGL of the team from his position, which I think is quite a curious one and a bit different from G2. But it's a correlation with the upturn in form of G2.
It's one of the things as well that we used to sort of see as a criticism from an outside perspective is it looked like he was quite often the last one alive. Baiting was the word that was thrown around quite a lot. And he wasn't always doing that strictly as much as his team said it in all chat, but still there was an energy and a lack of togetherness. If they can start to find a drive on those pieces, who knows where they'll go?
Well, then, their opponents, Outsiders on the other side. And at some point, we're looking at Outsiders as, man, they really have improved. They brought together the right players for the right kind of situation. And now it's a 50-50 shot for them to make it still to the major, Jack.
I'm not convinced by this team. I think this is almost the Russian G2 in that it's a team of individually talented and cracked players, but strategically, dynamically, it just doesn't work.
You really have to do them that dirty.
Yeah, because they tend to, their victories have come when teams have imploded. Because Outsiders, one thing they're very, and they are excellent at, by the way, is capitalizing on aggression. Because they more or less set themselves up on the back line, on the outside of the map, funnily enough, a lot of the time. And then when defenders are trying to run outside them, trying aggression, they punish it. But if you delay against Outsiders, you really have a lot of fun. And that's what we've seen teams do. And that's why we've seen Outsiders have such a poor attacking return.
It's tricky because they're a team that we've always enjoyed watching. And they're a team that, to be honest, when the meta started becoming aggressive, you were like, they could be good at this. And they weren't. And I think it's that sort of other symbolism.
We got that.
We got that. Of what can be the driving force of a team? Having a voice is that other thing that we don't get the true take of, but can be everything.
Where will we need to hear them roar then? This is a callback to another episode of the EUL show. Which map are we going to be on? Let's bring them all up. 9 in total. 8 are out, 1 is left, and it'll be Villa this time. Outsiders will have the last say. They start off on attack. If G2 have picked up defense. Jack, does this align with the predictions?
These two teams are very hard to predict in terms of map bans.
Okay.
So I would say no, it doesn't. G2, in terms of Villa, it's like their 8th or 9th rated map. They don't really want to go there. They don't like going there. The last time they went there was quite frankly one of the worst games of Villa I ever watched, which was against BDS. That rush from Doki on the blitz where his teammates are in Narnia, it was really sloppy. So I do worry about this map ban, the fact that G2 have ended up on Villa.
We haven't got recent statistics of it from Outsiders. We haven't got it from the recent thing. And obviously, Chalet being that last choice between Outsiders, I'm curious if G2 expected a Chalet again.
I think so.
Hoping that they would bring it back down. Obviously, both teams have played there, and it was the most recent showdown for G2 versus Russians. Instead, we get Villa, which is a little bit of a curveball.
Definitely unexpected in this one. And our game is pretty much ready. So you still going? G2 can take this?
I put in my predictions.
Did you?
I can't remember.
Nobody does. Jack?
I think I put it in my prediction. G2 should have enough to take this. My worry for G2 is on the defense. If they get a little bit too aggressive without the synergy, they will be punished.
All right, let's see how it goes then. Our final matchup for today, my friends. G2 versus Outsiders. It's Hits and Des to take you through it. Enjoy.
Thank you very much, Milosh. We're here for the last game of the day. Tim, got my cup of coffee. We're ready to go. Not that I need to stay awake, because watching G2 is always quite a delight. A curious delight, that is the way I can put it.
One way or another, it's entertaining.
And Outsiders have got a surprise at the sneeze as well, potentially here. Many of you at home going with G2, clearly inspired by their performance on the last Playday. They have been warming into things, Tim, but as much as Outsiders may have slipped throughout the stage and not quite looked as strong as they did back in stage 1, you just know there's a 15+ kill game waiting in Milan, for example. Pash, we've seen go nuclear once or twice this stage. When the stars align, this team can be really deadly.
Certainly can. We're going to have the bans coming in. To begin with, it's going to be G2 to kick us off because they start on defence, which, if anything, is going to assist them here on Villa. They are certainly taking the time thinking about that first attacker.
Citizen is a Sith Lord today.
Come in. He's playing in absolute darkness. Hibana's going to be the first one. Interesting choice. Obviously, no requirement for hatchers, but ranged breach can be useful here on Villa, particularly master bedroom and study.
Exactly that, yeah. Especially when you're trying to get, for example, triple wall open safely. It's very good for that. Getting study opened up, as you mentioned, also a good pick as well. Outsiders, they're banned. Let's see if there's anything spicy or if it's pretty straight and narrow. It's straight and narrow. It's going to be the Thatcher. Wouldn't surprise me if this next one turns into being a Kaid or a Mirror, for example.
Yeah, I think we'll see fairly stock defensive bans. I don't think we're going to see anything too wild out of either side. Outsiders come in with the first. It's going to be the Valk, and then the next from G2 is likely to be the Mirror or the Kaid. Anything else would be quite a surprise, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll get through that in just a second and then see how things shape up. Always curious to see the rotation of sites we go through on Villa as well. We've said this a few times that we've stepped around a little bit. The Malusi, I think a target banned. I want to say it's Citizen who normally charges around on the operator the same way Shaiko would for BDS.
G2 banned it.
Sorry, other way around, yeah,
ban.
completely. So looking on the other side then, you're looking towards someone like Milan, like Rask, like Pasha. Those three players do like getting out on the more aggressive operators and getting out and about around the maps. Maybe it's leading in towards that.
Could be. Right, let's get ourselves into things then. It's going to be round number 1 on Villa. G2 on the defence, G2 versus Outsiders. Both of these teams pretty much away from the major spots now. I dare say there's an argument for Outsiders being able to, potentially, mathematically make a run.
They have an outside chance.
Exactly that. It's still reasonably unlikely for both. But the thing is, both are playing for very different reasons, very different outcomes that they're looking for from this. They're looking for consistency. They're looking for points. They're looking to avoid, potential relegation spots later at the end of stage 3. There's all sorts to play for here. G2 up and down so far. They managed to get themselves a good win a couple of play days ago. They seem to be turning it around a little bit. Picked up another one on the last play day. But Outsiders, they are really the roller coaster team in EUL Stage 2 so far. You just never know what you're going to get.
It's like a bag of Revels, Tim. Really not sure what you're going to get. And the thing is, you can shake it about as much as you like. You never know what's going to rise to the top with these guys. I said before, I'd like to see Pasha being consistent once again like he was for much of 12 to 18 months ago. He was the kind of star player on this team. Milan came in, put on some real shows as well. They were a real force to be reckoned with, but it's kind of like M&M where they don't quite have the same level of consistency. Their front three are a really solid core unit. We've all seen them shine at different points in history, but trying to get them all firing on the same day is where many of their main struggles rest. So that's what I want to see come online today ahead of anything else. A big focus of them here coming in from Laundry on the east side, trying to sweep out towards the Pulse and the Legion playing downstairs. Understandably, the last thing you want to do is step inside a Master and get yourself C4'd in from below. So completely understandable what they're going for, but we'll see just how much time G2 can waste.
Yeah, it's the first site from G2 is going to be kitchen and dining. They've gone downstairs. They've got Virtue on the Pulse. A little bit unorthodox, I think it's fair to say. Usually teams will take one of the top floor sites, but for the time being, Outsiders are going to be trying to get themselves into the top floor and in control. It looks like they've managed to do that. Nitro goes out onto a ping spot, but I think it's going to be a pre-place rather than anything else. They're going to wait for... They know ultimately that floor will start opening up. Astro is one of the floors that you do want to open up for this site. So as soon as that starts happening, in. They'll pull the pin on that Nitro and hope that they can get somebody, but Citizen going to find himself down. Virtue low health, not looking great for G2.
Behind the reinforced wall, still have this information being fed back and forth, mind you, by the Pulse. So G2 have got all the information here. Things should be going their way, and that's the kill you're looking for. Prano to bring down FMX, relieve a little bit of pressure on the team, because you can see all of Outsiders now, all 4 members scattered here towards the east side of this building. This is when arguably resources have to be moved over from the west side of things and more over towards the east.
Virtue looking for that Nitro. Not going to have enough joy. He does a little bit of damage to Pasha. Quite a bit, in fact, leaving him down at about 40 HP. Nade comes in. Not going to finish Virtue off, but I tell you what, it's not a million miles away. They need to be very, very careful there. 4v4 as Milon manages to find the low HP Citizen, and that is going to be Outsiders maybe having an opportunity to start moving in here. Virtue's there. Nade comes in. He just keeps managing to dance with death, and he manages to avoid it every single time. Doki finds Smash. Good kill for G2. 30 seconds left to go, but Diffuser's going down.
Oh, this is the thing, they wanted to try and get Alamayan for deny there, but he's not going to be able to get away with this now. No one really can stop them, so it's going to have to be an aggressive push coming out of G2 in this 3 versus 3. Milon, though, with the shield on side, finds one back. A C4 out from Prano, finds his second in the round, and Ras goes down 2. Now dancing around, and Milon makes it a 3 in the round. Where's this Prano been? A big third kill to come out, and now Pasha has got to do it all by himself. He is on the vertical, and that means G2 need to retake the top floor. Pasha will be more than aware of this. Red Stair is where the push is coming from, and Prano's going to have to try and stick this. Here we go, and now Virtue has got to be the one to hold this angle.
Pasha doesn't quite know exactly where the attempt is coming in from. Essential challenge coming in from Virtue. Gets his man, and that's going to be a great retake from G2 as they have about 6 seconds to spare and manage to get themselves round number 1.
Quite comfortable, I think. There was good pressure coming in from Outsiders, but when you've got 5 players all pushing on the same side of the building, that is to be expected. And while we criticised certain teams earlier on today saying, hey, you're trying to go for a full map clear here to pull off an execute, they get very to the point. They bring the Arsenal, they get control of Laundry, they sneak a shield just inside of sight and get the plant down behind that with a bit of vertical control as well. So I like the simplicity from Outsiders. They're not trying to overcomplicate things, and really there, weren't in a bad spot. 3v3, plant is down, just couldn't quite win it out when Prano's walked to 3k.
Round number 2 then is going to be Trophy and Statuary. G2 with a good performance in the first round, but that's fair to say of Outsiders as well. They managed to keep things level, 3v3. They got in there and got the diffuser planted. Rask able to secure that for them. So if they can continue that objective play, they might have a little bit more joy as this one goes on. But the beauty of that for G2 is they've locked down what some would consider as the offsite there. And now they get to go to the more popular areas. So we could well find ourselves, if they can lock down these 2 primary sites of Trophy, Statuary and Aviator Games, they might just have themselves a 3-0 start, which would be huge for them.
Well, look back at Villa's stats here, I can see what we've seen as the most popular. Trophy and Statue has been the most popular with 20 plays, Aviator Games 19, then Kitchen and Dining 12, Living Library 100% defensive win rate with 3 plays so far.
Oh dear.
And, I mean, a spawn pick could understand a team kill, less so.
Certainly not ideal start for Outsiders there. Hopefully not a sign of things to come. Rotero drone is racing its way in and gets away with that one. I'm not sure exactly what utility it's going to take out, but it will make it more difficult for Alamau to play in this position. I think Outsiders have done their homework there, because we've seen Alamau on the Azami making an absolute nuisance of himself and looking into Master Bedroom before from that wall. So I think that's been the aim there, has more been to take that out. So he just needs to be aware of his position.
Absolutely. Well, here Alamau is aware of the pressure coming in from that Master Bedroom side. Wants to be able to keep on contesting through here. Whenever I've seen this castle barricade team, I've always mentioned it every time I've been on the site and we've seen one. It is so you can play through this rotate here to be able to step through the triple wall rather than completely reinforcing it all off. And it gives you a safe angle through. Thing is, that's going to now start getting threatened. The beauty, of course, being that with both the castle and an Azami on side, you've got a lot of side transformation that you can get away with.
Certainly do. We've got a keeper barricade being destroyed. We've seen previously that Alamau just keeps replacing those. That is going to be the case once again. We've got Prano just supporting as well from that concrete door, looking to try and get the angle where my magnets are grabbing up all the utility that's flying in at the minute. Beautiful kill from Alamau as he strafes across the window there, and that's going to be 5 versus 3 for G2. Halfway mark, and Outsiders can't even get in the map.
They can't get inside bathroom because of the constant challenge coming out of Alamau from behind safety as well. No one can push in and get this weird sort of diagonal angle where Milan is now trying to challenge in from the walk-in wardrobe. So it's just a really well orchestrated defense by G2 that outsiders haven't yet cracked. Smash does finally get the kill as Alamal bites off a few too much for him to chew, and ultimately goes down. But the thing is, he's now backfilled by Prano. So sure, you've got rid of one, but there's another man to step into his place.
And there's nearly 2 minutes burnt as it is. They're going to have to try going in through bathroom potentially. It looks like that's where a lot of the focus is going to be. Smash goes in. Is Milan going to follow? Clears out the barbed wire for him to start. Straight away looking towards Astro. Might be the approach into sight, but Prano holding a tight angle through there, and they could be in serious trouble here as Prano has managed to just extend himself into bathroom there, and into bedroom, gets the kill into bathroom. Milan manages to get the trade, but Prano's work is largely done. 3v2, 25 seconds left to go, and they've still got G2, a man on the flank.
They've just completely outgained them here. All the utility from outsiders has been gone for the last minute or so, so they're left trying to scrap together an attack. Getting a couple of kills like this, the one onto Prano, the one onto Virtue is a good way to start swinging it back. We're in a 2 versus 2. It's Doki and Citizen, though. They're two of the last men you want to come up against, but Milan is the one you want left alive in any 1vx situation. Trying to stick the plant in here. Citizen going to try and charge his way forwards. Impact nade comes out. Pokeballs Milan. G2 take round 2.
Well played from G2. Citizen knew exactly what to do in that 1v1 at the end. Just wait for the timer to tick down towards that 1 second, 0 seconds. So long as the diffuser hasn't been planted at that point, you can approach and try for that final kill. Closes the round out, and G2 managed to get themselves a 2-0 lead heading into round 3. Outsiders, they need to wake up, and they need to wake up quickly. It took them far too long to get inside of the building in that round. It was about the 2.5 minute mark that they were hopping in through the bathroom window, and it's just too late.
Everything was so risky, though, because, like I said, by about the minute 15 mark, they were out of nades, out of Gone 6s, they were out of the Rotero drones. They'd literally burn everything going through these castle barricades that were then being replaced by the Azami Keeper barriers. And this is the real strength that you have in these architects, as Ubisoft calls them, that you can just constantly transform the site, shape it the way you want. And it felt like when you stepped into bathroom, you were stepping into a maze. Everywhere you looked, castle barricade, Keeper barrier. The site looked completely unfamiliar to everything that they were expecting to see, and that's why it got so scrappy towards the end. And sure, outsiders came close. They did get 2 or 3 kills back in the late round, but G2 had their number, it felt like, from second 1.
It certainly did. Citizen going to be underneath with the alibi at the moment. We'll see how long that persists for. Aviator Games is going to be the site, but with Milan, Pasha and Rascal with nades in hand, G2 are likely one to keep a presence underneath, because you can see how much of those floors are destructible inside Aviator Games, and if they can get underneath and start playing with those vertical nades, it can be deadly. That doesn't look ideal.
It does not. So we'll come back to us for just a second, and then, well, not back to us, but to the players. So you can enjoy stuff.
I think the round is ongoing.
I think by the looks of the constant flashes now on Pasha's screen as he's flicking through drones, same for FMX. That means their round will play out. We'll wait here for the round to conclude and then jump back into the game.
I think, as I say, a big part of the plan there, if you bring in 6 nades along and you know that you're attacking onto Aviator Games, you are going to want to get yourself established underneath. You're going to want to be getting in there, throwing a few vertical nades and seeing, if you can take anybody down. You can get often quite a few free kills in Aviator Games because there are really default places where players will play. You know which corners they're going to be hiding in, and these guys practice hitting those nades all day long. So I think that will be part of the plan. So Citizen is going to be particularly important. I don't know how much we can maybe gather from his face as to whether he's alive or not. We'll do our best. But Citizen was playing underneath on Alibi, and just keeping that lockdown is going to be essential, I think, for G2.
I think what I love here as well is just the fact that, I know obviously we don't get to watch the game, we're all here to watch the game, but you do get to watch player reactions, see who's talking, who's doing what as well. And I think at this point, Doki seems to be dead, as he has been hands off mouse for the longest of times. Unfortunate, I suppose. So you can start to discern how the round is going from that sort of information alone.
Yep, it certainly seems that the round is still ongoing. The thing is, even if G2 don't win this round, if they've lost players and they lose the round, it's not the end of the world for them. They come away from their first defensive rotation 2-1 up. If they continue that through, they get themselves 4-2 on the half. And defensive Villa, they're going to be reasonably happy with that. 4-2 is your aim, but we've seen quite a lot of 3-3s, to be honest. Villa becoming, much more sort of even in terms of win rates, attack and defence. So I think if G2, especially having chosen Aviator Games as their third site, they'll be more than happy whatever happens in this round.
Absolutely. Like I said, you'll probably hear a couple of sounds in the background, so I will get back into lobby once the round is concluded, get the players back in, so then we can crack on with things as well. And no doubt you'll also see that score in the middle of your screen tick up. And given I think a lot of the players stopped at this point, Tim, we're pretty safe to assume they're going to be doing that any moment now.
Yeah, it certainly looks like Virtue I'm looking at. You can see one of his hands there. I think
well, G2 won.
I think G2 might have got the round.
Just in case Doki's cheering didn't give that away.
I think G2 might have got the round there, so that'll make us 3-0.
It was close because there were 3 players sat with their hands off keyboard.
Yeah, I think
it
must have been a close round. Outsiders do look a little bit dejected on that one as well. Certainly looks like maybe a bit of a blow for them. Probably quite a close round there, I think.
I love the icon we've got now, by the way. It's like praying to the cog, like, oh,
Yeah, please fix it.
like the sun, but it's a cog. Get it?
I've just written G3 instead of G2 in
Is
my
that the
notes.
upgraded version of G2?
I think it's because they're 3-0. I'm going to rewrite that. There we go, sorted.
There you go. I remember when they used to lose like 2 and 7, it'd be like, oh, G2 and 7, lol. Or if they got like 2-0 in a best of 3, G2 and 0, lol. That sort of thing.
All the original ones.
The numbers really don't help, to be fair. In names, they are just easy to pick up on and run a mile with.
The one that I always struggled with was the matchup BDS versus G2. I always, at some point, whenever I cast G2 versus BDS, I always, without fail, I think I've done it every single time I've cast that game, end up saying GDS. Every single time.
You know what I always struggle with? BDS versus TSM.
But yeah, well, slightly riskier.
I'm sure those of you at home can guess exactly why. If you can combo a few of those letters together in the wrong order, you can understand exactly why.
But yeah,
the thing is, you
GDS.
think about it and you're like, I must not say it. I must not say it.
That's the problem, though. When something gets in your mind, it can become problematic.
Because, like, let's break the fourth wall a bit. When you're casting, for example, often you're not really super conscious about every word coming out of your mouth. You're just letting your brain sort of run away and do its thing, and you're trying to find the next thing to talk about in about 5 seconds.
I don't
time.
remember a thing I've said in the last 2 years.
That's just your age, mate. I'm
be honest.
sorry to tell you. What did you just say again?
Sorry?
Exactly. So for me, the way I look at it is it comes down to that sort of thing is you're kind of looking 5 seconds ahead and always thinking about it. So you hear someone say something silly, or like me all the time, you stutter over your words and say the wrong thing, or you just say a word that doesn't even belong there. It's because you're thinking about what to say in 5 seconds time. It's your brain's moving faster than your mouth is the way I look at it, Tim, and that's when we get these unfortunate mishaps and slip-ups.
But they're at least funny for everybody at home. They can
That's
have a little
very
chuckle.
true.
If I ever say GDS, you're more than welcome to have a little chuckle.
Or if I go Ninor again, you're also welcome.
I mean,
that was just pure unrivaled passion.
All of us are going to be chuckling at that point. We get back into it then. We've got everybody back in the lobby. We are 3-0 G2. It is round number 4, and we're going to be going to dining and kitchen again. So the defensive rotation that we've just seen is going to stick, and they are going to be going back to that downstairs side.
And just in case you're wondering, this game's stakes are relatively low as far as the major is concerned. But outside one.
But you're telling me that there's a chance.
So you're saying there's a chance?
So
Absolutely.
what you're saying is that there's a chance.
Absolutely. But the one thing to also note, for G2, it's less of a concern. I tell you what, I'm not going to say that and be a typical caster and just assume that I know. I don't know at this point, so I'm going to go and look it up. I'm pretty sure, though, G2 are far enough away from the relegation conversation.
I think it's less of a concern.
Outsiders are a bit closer, though. So they're in that spot where they're in the bottom 4 and I think are fighting that out right now. G2 are on 22 points overall. Outsiders are on 19. Na'Vi are on 18. Secret are in 9th place on 15. And Pones are on 9.
So, I mean, you've got 7 points clear for G2. You've only got 4
That's not even
points
auto
clear.
relegation either.
No, you've got 4 points clear for outsiders. So, like you said, those 3 points can be a big difference. But what I will say is an extra 3 points here will be an even bigger difference.
The crazy thing is for GT saying, oh, get the 3 points to move even further clear. BDS are only on 27.
I know.
It's not like they're
well,
a
I was just
stretch
going to say,
away.
if G2 get this win, it basically starts creating some real separation in the overall table, because 6th place upwards will be 25 points and up, and then 7th place outsiders and down, and 19
Pones
and
will need
below.
to
So
win
it
6
starts
games.
to create some real separation then as to who's going to get caught up in it.
Pones would have to win like 6 games next stage to even get out of the conversation of being near relegation as well, to start competing with those teams in the 20s, and that's where things get a little bit scary. But enough about relegations for now. Let's focus on this game and how it's going. It's not going great for outsiders to kick things off. G2 once again leaning quite heavily into the Pulse, who's running around upstairs, Tim. Not normally the place you throw a Pulse.
Well, no, not normally.
I like it.
Especially on this site, you want them downstairs so you can, use that intel for your nitros and for anything else that you're trying to achieve. Now, interestingly, outsiders aren't really pushing the top floor too much immediately at the minute. It looks like they're going horizontally. They are going to be heading in that direction. Pasha is looking to get himself over there. But for the time being, he's just trying to support this sort of push through living room and library as well.
I think it's pretty good from G2 because if you understood here, the outsiders are working laterally, they're working horizontally across the map on the ground floor. They have got a couple of players in the upstairs. We saw the Sledge of Pasha swinging that hammer away as well. But you can then feed information on what's going on below you rather than strictly always looking upwards. So if you know, for example, Milan, like you just saw, is starting to work his way up red through living and library, you can feed that information back across to the team that are on the downstairs to be able to go for a contest.
Challenge is going to come in. Prano having a good game. He really is on one today. Manages to find his headshot onto Rask and just keeps that top floor nice and secure. That is a really important kill for G2. It means that there's only 2 left to be able to push onto that top floor, and what it's doing is diverting Milan away. He's having to watch this Astro stairs, but the problem for G2 here, and this is actually going to give his position away. Doki comes around and gets the kill. That's super important. What I was going to say there was that if they were unaware of Milan's position at the bottom of Astro, that would be their natural rotate to get back to site, and he could have picked 1 or 2 of them up had he been able to hold that position. But going for the nade, I think pulling the pin, maybe the sound cue just gave him away, and Doki was able to get the kill. But Smash gets something going with a kill onto Alamau, and that brings us back to 2v4. But G2 looking pretty solid at the moment.
I think at this point they just go direct to site. For outsiders, that was far more successful last time round. Citizen caught in the wrong place at the wrong time as we get into the last 10. You got the Legion across to the right-hand side of Prado here, who's just dipping around and waiting for him to step forward. Doki finds another. Will it be a 3k in the round? Yes, it will. It's a 3k for Doki, and round 4 go in the way of G2.
Too many threes. I'm trying to write G3 again. G3k. It's going to be 4-0. G2 absolutely flying on Villa at the minute. I don't know what it is about games that we cast tonight, Des, but every one of them has been a little bit of a runaway to start with. Are G2 going to be able to get that 6-0 that we saw come out on our previous game? As it is, outsiders, they've decided enough's enough. They're going to be taking that tactical timeout.
You know what I have just clocked? Outsiders are at a boot camp by the looks of it, because we're very used to seeing Pasha and I want to say Rask playing together from what I can only imagine is his nan's bedroom with those curtains that we see in there and the wallpaper that's decorated around it. Whereas here,
or one of my shirts.
Or one of your shirts. It tells you a lot about your age, Tim, and exactly what. This is probably the discovery of your shirts, wasn't it? You saw your nan's curtains and thought, you know what? They'd make a great shirt.
See, a few people have said that.
Are you surprised?
I
mean, the one you're wearing now is probably not. Would it sit on a curtain?
I've never seen hummingbirds on a curtain. But I do have hummingbirds on my shirt.
I've probably seen hummingbirds on curtains somewhere. I can Google some for you, mate. We'll get some ordered express. Hang it up in your hotel room tonight.
Yeah, just start getting some shirts run up.
Or just take your shirt off and hang that up and there's your curtains. Do the reverse. No one expected that one, huh? Little replay for you here as well. A Pasha on his step through against Citizen. Just wrong place, wrong time. It felt a good little step across from Pasha. Doki with the tried and tested Mark 14, Tim. Just showing up.
I mean, it's a very solid weapon. Very solid weapon. Even if you're not hitting those headshots, you can be downing people in 2 shots. Killing 3, just absolutely hammer away on mouse 1. Not a massive amount of recoil. It is, in the hands of somebody like Doki, it is a very, very powerful weapon, and he's going to bring it along again.
We're going for a similar setup as last time here as well. G2 going for the castle, the Azami.
Nobody's figured that Azami out yet.
Not yet, but then admittedly there's a lot to deal with when there's also a castle on side here, right? They have 3 of their castle barricades put out towards master bedroom. You knock one off, the instant replacement coming in is going to be a Kiba barrier. At this point, Alamau's just letting those charge in back pocket. He's going to have 3 to his name in just a second. So for every Rotera that comes out, every nade that comes through, every Gon 6 that is fired, they have as many replacements to go through, also considering there is a 1 on side to catch out some of that gadgetry too. So it becomes a utility war. What you want to see here is outsiders learn from round 2 and get this right this time round. Either that or completely circumvent the whole setup, which is maybe what Pasha's looking to do.
Certainly could be. Going to be heading on in towards site not in towards site, in towards dining and kitchen, just trying to force Citizen out directly. They want those vertical nades, but Doki's down there as well. Basically, they want to deal with Alamau. If they can get in underneath, they tried with the Rotero drone last time to open the floor below him and try and force him away from that angle, but he still managed to get, I think, 2 kills it was on the round. It was at least 1. And he's just an absolute nightmare. He just will keep replacing the Kiva barricades. He'll just make it very difficult. That's well played played from outsiders there. Just using that combination of the drones and pushing at the same time to take Doki's focus away and get themselves a nice entry.
Yeah, a little bit away from sight there as well. The kind of time where maybe Citizen would be calling, you know, Doki, come back. We don't need to be that far out, but you straight the path and the little lamb is gone. One more coming up from downstairs here, and Pasha's just ready. Prano can do no good against him there. A big 2K to start the round. This is the kind of performance I was on about from Pasha as well, Tim. We're picking up some of those big kills to get the team rolling. Those mute jammers behind, I didn't see those last time round. The jammers behind either one mean that realistically, the Roteros aren't going to do the trick.
Citizen manages to get Mill on. Can he get himself firing and find another? If he does, it'll be 3v3. And the big area to be keeping an eye on at the minute is Alamau. He hasn't been cleared out of that spot inside of Statuary. He's still watching onto Master Window. He's still got his Kiba barricades, and he is going to be a nuisance if they don't have an answer. And interestingly, they've got the kills underneath Des, but they're not going looking for the vertical nades. They are not going to be challenging in that way, and Alamau is going to continue to play this position as he has previously.
Tim, every single one of them is stacked up outside in this balcony. They're throwing literally everything in towards this setup. And again, G2 just keep on replacing things. More Kiba barriers keep on rolling out. Nades not quite connecting too. Yes, they've finally got rid of the mute jammers, but they're chewing through utility once again, which is what makes me so nervous. Alamau can just replace it once again. That is his last Kiba though, so the next one that comes through, this one, will be able to get something opened up. He's got to be careful on the south side here as he's being chased down, but this does mean that Kiba barrier is going to stay in place.
Manages to get FMX. If he holds that window for another second, he would have got a smash as well. Did sort of predict the play quite well as the Rotero drone came in to move him. There's the flash. There's the aggression. Absolutely beautiful. Full white flash. Citizen with a nitro. Alamau with the final one. And I called it before we went into the round as nobody has the answer to Alamau in that position. We've not seen it yet, and he continues to dominate round after round and play that specific strategy better than anybody else I've yet seen.
The thing is, that strategy, this is a unique take on this. I've seen the castles before. I haven't seen the mute jammers that far out being replaced with Kiba straight after as well. And the big difference there, last time round back in round 2, Alamau did die, but Prana then just stepped into his, like where his shoes where he was before. It doesn't matter. All the Kiba barriers are down. It doesn't matter who plays there with what gun. Your whole job is to challenge onto the master bedroom window and to watch the bathroom window, which you can do quite securely at that point. No one can comfortably challenge you. But for me, the ordering from outsiders was a little bit wonky. Again, putting all their focus, all their utility in master bedroom, and only then do they rotate over to the bathroom window and clear the mute jammers off. That should have been step one. You can get rid of those jammers so comfortably and chuck a few nades in to force Alamau to stay inside of site itself rather than trying to rotate through. So I think outsiders there just a little bit perplexed by the problem and not able to assemble the steps in their mind that they had to go through one at a time.
Heading into round number 6 there, and it's going to be the final defence for G2. And it is Aviator Games. Stop bringing it up, Des. It's going to be Aviator Games. Nobody is ever going to want us to cast them on attack. They're going to be wanting sort of a dual team of casters, an attacking caster set and us on the defensive casting.
Like American football, where you're rotating in your special team,
exactly
your offense, your defense.
Exactly that. We're going to be the defensive casting team. EU, as you say, struggling to pick up the attacks at this point in time. G2 going to be looking for a final successful defence. It's Aviator Games for round 6. Last time around, again, outsiders didn't have too much of an impact on this site. They didn't really get any. They didn't get control of 90. They weren't able to push into maps. They weren't really taking control of study, and they're not going to be taking control of much if this continues. Prano manages to get the kill onto Milon straight over the balcony to get himself safely back to site. Prano's had a great game so far.
By my measure, 3 entry kills in the game. I didn't see the one in round 3, but 1, 4, and 6, all entries going Prano's way. And we had a certain moment last week where Virtue hit a wicked shot on Chalet up on towards the library stairs, and then Prano draws circles around someone else's head. And to see him hitting shots today is a big improvement on last week.
I mean, he's playing the year. I don't know if it's just a case of...
Look, playing the carbine these days is no easy feat.
It's not an easy feat,
like
and he's just been out on the roam a bit more, and I don't know whether it's maybe a little bit of like, right, just go and get some kills and just settle things down a bit, but whatever it is, it's been fantastic for Prano. Rask missing by a hair's breadth there as he can't see the player above him, doesn't have the good grace of silhouettes as we do. Doki just keeping himself out of dodge there on top of Map's table, playing in behind that keeper barricade. Vertical nade attempt will be unsuccessful. Citizen does manage to get the kill onto Rask to to repay the favour. Doki onto Pasha, and this is looking like 6-0 all day long.
The real question for me, Tim, is what comes in the second half. Absolutely, it's looking a bit wild at this point. FMX stepping down towards 90 to see what he can do. C4 up and over the top, catches onto the ceiling. Otherwise, that could have been round, done and dusted. Smash staring down towards where a shield would normally hold, but it's Doki behind a keeper barrier. Finds 2. It's a flawless round. G2 looking transformed today.
I love the confidence from Doki there. That's the Doki that we're used to seeing. He gets the first kill, well, he gets the down, and as he pops up to finish the kill, he sees the second man and he's happy to go back in for another challenge. He's got that confidence. I don't care, I'm going to hit this headshot. And that is the Doki that is really dangerous. When he's playing like that, when he just doesn't care whether you know, they knew he was there. They knew where the peak was going to come from. They knew he was going to peak, and he just didn't care because he knew he was going to win that gunfight. He had that confidence that he was going to win that gunfight, that he was going to hit his shot. Much, much better from Doki. From G2 as a whole, fantastic to see Prano laughing, Doki laughing, you know, plenty of smiles throughout the team. Much, much better.
Absolutely. Well, let's see if this is going to be a 7-0 game from G2. I think if 3 weeks ago you'd said to me G2 are going to start 7-0 in teams, they'll dumpster pone 7-2, I'd be like, you're having a laugh, aren't you? They aren't that good. Whereas so far today, at least on the defense, we've seen a really cool defense come out inside Trophy and Stats. We definitely want to break that one down a little bit more over the weekend. Smash already being shotgunned by a friendly. It's not quite looking so good in the outsider's cap. But for me, the real teller for G2 is going to be this attack. Look back to the last time they played Villa. It was a terrible, terrible blitz rush. You had Doki in sight alone. 2 players were up towards Laundry by themselves. You had Prano holding on towards main where someone had just died. It was so miscommunicated across the team as to who should be doing what, that it was just painfully obvious that this team was not on the same page. So I'm hoping what we've seen in that first half keeps them inspired, keeps them happy, and we see a really good round here coming out.
I think that's absolutely the key. They know that there's a peak coming onto that window from the Azami. Going to get the kill here. No! Alamau just missing his shots. The F2 just taking him away. The recoil just kicking up a little bit more than he expected. The Azami of Milon just getting away with that one. Like you say, they're definitely stacking up at the minute. I think they are just applying various elements of utility to that area to try and keep it close. What I like about the G2 lineup, Adez, and what it's, and I'm not going to comment on what's going on within the team because quite frankly, I don't know. I am going to guess and say I think that maybe the mental was just a little bit lower at that point, and it was like, right, just bring the blitz rush, just do, you know, it was a little bit of maybe just, I don't know, despondency, just, you know, we've had enough, just try it, whatever. Whereas now, like you say, they've got that focus, they've got that sharp, keen edge where they're coming in and they're saying, right, this is how we're going to win this round. And it is a stark contrast for me, and you like to see it. We've had the opening kills gone on to Doki, but FMX has gone on the other side as well. So 4v4 and G2 still okay.
And looking down the scoreboard on their right-hand side of the screen too, like everyone's getting themselves involved in a really positive way. I know Virtue's 1-0 and 2, but it's not like he's 1 and 4, for example. He's definitely getting himself weighed in. And that's only since the rehost. The Knock working her way down 90 here. May well come up with a great backstab, as that default cam won't have seen anything, but the wee woo goes off. They must know at this point, and I think he now has to back away. I'm not sure if he shot it out in time as well. Yes, he did. No, that's a light on the other side of this here, but goes down for the 1v1 up on towards 90. Milan not able to find his man. Citizen sent slightly low, but I think it was looking ceiling side to try and find the proximity alarm, but it is on the back of the cabinet on the floor.
There's no way Citizen could have known, and it's certainly not a criticism I'm making. If he just carries on into sight there, I think he gets the Azami and probably 1 or 2 more. But you're never going to do it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. You're never going to do it without knowing. He thinks he's going to get peaked from main stairs, but he wasn't. I don't think the Wamai of Rask was going to be peaking around that corner. So unfortunate for Citizen that he didn't continue. Nade is going to deal with the wee-woo, the proximity alarm there. Citizen figuring out a method of not having to find it. I'll just dump some explosives in there and they will do the job for me.
When does Citizen go is the big question, because so much attention has been drawn towards site, because Prano's starting to line up. You've got Alamau set up inside a study as well. So G2 has set up a multi-point push here. The backstab from Citizen could be the big difference maker, but he's dropped down through the hatch, Tim. Nades from below. In fact, got no nades on side. He's going to have to come up down the bottom of the stairs here and challenge on towards Rask, whose attention is elsewhere.
Certainly is going to take him a long time. Prano's just been forced away, but it might just work here. He's making his way around. He has to go for the fold. He's going to catch the Azami. 3v2. 3 seconds left to go. 3v1. 3v1. 3-0 as G2 manage in the dying seconds of the round to finish off a rapid 7-0 destruction of Outsiders.
And you can see how much it means to the boys as well. I mean, Doki, look at him absolutely bouncing in his seat there, smiles all round. They know that's the sign of what's to come from this team. They had a rough stage one, they had a rough start to this stage, but it finally feels like G2 might just be on the right path, Tim.
Love to see it, you love to see it. I've said it time and time again. The last thing we want to see is teams struggling, players, struggling to find their place in the team and the wins and the rounds. That's not what we want. Smiles, laughing, fun, and teams just absolutely storming through games. That is what we want to see, and G2 have delivered bucketfuls of that tonight.
Haven't they just? It's a shame it's a little bit too late for the Major to start putting up these kind of performances, but that's the most decisive we've seen of the night, on both attack and on defense.
Foundations.
Got to lay the concrete foundations to build.
I said this with the first win. The first win wasn't perfect. The second win was better. The third win was borderline clinical. You've just got to lay your foundations to move forward. Mistakes from Outsiders, absolutely. We know they've struggled with consistency, but G2 took advantage.
I
Well
can't
played.
wait to go and dissect those defenses later. They were
Well played.
sublime. Well played to G2. Big 3, big points on the board, and great for the round.
And a
as
successful
well.
attack.
And that too. Let's go to a quick break. When we come back, Desk will break it down for you ahead of the post show.